is full of ultra rare weapons, but which one is the rarest of all? I've gone after all of the weapons in Elden Ring, and I can safely say none have caused as much trouble as this one. I'll show you where to find this downright mythical weapon and why more and more players are getting excited about it. So the weapon in question is the Celebrant's Sickle. On first impressions, it doesn't really look like much, but the weapon is actually really special because the Celebrant's Sickle is notorious for being the hardest weapon to get in the whole game. Harder than the infamous Noble Slender Sword, which took like 200 runs for me to get. Harder than the Watch Dogs Greatsword. Harder even than my driving test, which I failed 9 times. That isn't a joke. Probability-wise, there is a 0.5% chance of the Celebrant's Sickle weapon dropping from the one specific enemy that has it. That means that out of every 100 people who play Elden Ring, only half of one person has it. Or one whole person in every 200 people. Just have a look on the wiki and it's filled with people detailing their struggles of obtaining this weapon. No other weapon in Elden Ring has caused this much anguish. I mean, speaking on a purely wiki-based term. Some people even think the game is broken because the weapon's not dropping for them, but the game is not broken. The only thing that's broken is From Software's minds for making the drop rate of this conventional farming tool so damn low. Even if players do manage to get it, it won't be by chance because they'll likely only have it if they've intentionally set out to look for it, because the Celebrant's Sickle is tucked away in a corner of the map and it's very, very easy to miss. Here's where to find it. The one single place you can farm the Celebrant's Sickle is in Windmill Village, aka the one with all the dancing women. Now this place actually contains 3 of the rarest weapons in the game. One of these is the Rib Rake, which is a sort of spear made from bones. One of these is the Celebrant's Cleaver, which is sort of a cleaver made from bones. That one's slightly rarer. But the one we're here for is the rarest of all, the Sickle. Guess what? It's made from bones. For all 3 of these rare weapons, it's just a matter of killing these joyful broads over and over again. I say just, this is going to take you bloody ages. Again, this is a 0.5% drop rate. But here's a little secret, you don't have to kill the whole mob. The Celebrant's Sickle is found on just 2 of these enemies. These 2. Notice how their capes are blue. The blue ones each have a small chance of dropping the sickle. Different weapons are associated with different outfits. So these guys over here, for instance, carry the Rib Rake. If you wanted to double check, just aggro an enemy and see what weapon they whip out. That's the one that they have the potential to drop. But anyway, we're going after the sickle in this video, so here's what you want to do to speed up the process. Fast travel to the Windmill Village Site of Grace. From here, get on your horse and ride it up the stairs to the blue caped nuns. Now what I do here is leap off and get them both in one hit, taking them out with the minimal effort possible. But it really does depend on your weapon of choice, so, you know, weapons do of course have different movesets. I would recommend a longer weapon that will stab through both enemies, you know, like a halberd or a spear, just so you can do it in one move. Once you've dispatched both enemies, summon your horse, ride a little further up the road to get distance between you and the pack you've just aggroed, and use your Memory of Grace to immediately warp back to the Site of Grace. Without the Memory of Grace, you would have to kill every enemy here, as you can't fast travel while enemies are in the area, so this item just lets you get away straight away. Using the Memory of Grace will cause you to lose all of your runes, so make sure you're not carrying a bunch of runes before you use it. Another way you can speed up the farm is after you've killed the nuns, jump on your horse, then jump up on the shed. Enemies can't hit you while you're on the shed, then you can walk back to the Site of Grace from there. This is the quickest way to farm the Celebrant's Sickle. Like, in terms of the length of each run, I feel like this is the most optimized way possible, but, you know, of course, if you guys have found a better way and even faster way of speeding up the process, do let me know in the comments. That said, we can use some items to give you a higher chance for the item to drop. First off, wear the Silver Tier Mask. That's the one piece of armor with the highest arcane in the game. Some other piece of armor will also raise your arcane, but the Silver Tier Mask has the most, arcane being the stat that governs item discovery. The higher your arcane level, the more items drop from enemies. And you can also use the Silver Scarab Talisman for 50 extra arcane points. As well as that, use Marika's Source Seal Talisman, which basically boosts your stats across the board, including arcane. And use Godric's Great Rune, which does the same. And finally, I do sometimes use a Silver Pickled Fowl's Foot for more item discovery, and that makes a big difference difference. It adds 50 points to item discovery compared with the silver tier mask, which adds just 8. But usually farming the ingredients for the silver pickled fowl's foot does take longer than actually farming the weapon you're going after, and the effects reset when you fast travel or when you use a Sight of Grace, so I don't use this all the time. But anyway, if you did do all of this, it would massively boost your arcane and therefore cut down on the amount of time you're going to be farming. But there is one final way to max out your arcane, and that's by doing it the hard way. It's by going to Renala and literally resetting all your skills and leveling your arcane with your runes. Just do it as high as you can, all the way up to 99 if you're that brave. It is quite an investment, but don't worry, this is only temporary. Think of this as your farming build. So what I usually do is, before I go on a farming run, I respec my character, put 99 points into arcane. Who cares about health? Who cares about stamina? Knock all those right down. Then when you finally got the item you need, you can reset all your skills and all your stats to what they were before. It does help if you know what weapons you're going after, and you can queue all of them up and go after all of them in one kind of big run, just so you don't have to use up all of your larval tiers. Okay, now we've got the sickle finally. How does it perform? Well, the first thing I've done is just level the hell out of it with smithing stones. Hey, if you're going to use your smithing stones, you might as well use it on the rarest weapon in the game. Most weapons are actually decent when you level them up. Like, every weapon has its own strengths and weaknesses. It all depends on how you play. In terms of Ashes of War, the sickle is pretty versatile with loads of skills you can slap on it. I've tested with a bunch of them, and some of the most fun are the ones with bleed effects. That's because bleed levels with arcane. The higher your arcane, the more damage you'll do with bleed attacks. Since we've already got a ludicrously high arcane stat due to respecking our character, we might as well use bleed attacks. And the best bleed attack is this one. It launches a spray of blood like a projectile to damage enemies across the map. So here's a bit of gameplay showing you how that works. Although be warned, because each time you use this attack, you'll actually cut yourself and do damage. I didn't realize this at first and managed to literally kill myself once. Not so much death by 1,000 cuts as death by about 4. Another good bleed Ash of War is this one. It's a quick attack flurry, taking advantage of the sickle's already fast attacking speed. So you can get quite a few hits in and potentially stagger an enemy. But the best Ash of War to use with a Celebrant sickle is, in my opinion, the Flame of the Redmanes. This is a fire attack, and with its long range and broad spread, you can really take out multiple enemies in one go. It's so much fun. I really like to do this. But what I really like to do, as you can see in the footage, is to dual wield 2 sickles and really go to town. Coming from someone who had been playing with the Giant Crusher Hammer and using those slow as hell attacks, this feels so different, so much faster. You're kind of like some mad farmer, but instead of harvesting corn, you're harvesting runes. And I do mean that literally, because every kill you get with a sickle, it actually gives you back runes. All of the Celebrant's weapons, so the Celebrant's cleaver, the rib rake, and the hammer, they all give you back runes when you kill. I mean, it's not really enough to make it a viable farming tool, but it's a nice little bonus on top. So yeah, that was how to get the Celebrant's sickle, the rarest weapon in all of Elden Ring. Probability wise, it's got the lowest chance of dropping, and it seems like the least amount of Elden Ring players have this weapon. But anyway guys, let me know what weapons you struggle to get. It would be great to know I haven't struggled alone. Thanks for watching, and subscribe for more Elden Ring videos.